If you've always been that bitch who tends to be sad, or if you like worked your ass off in school and found yourself people pleasing a lot, this video is for you. And stay till the very end. I have 3 like big takeaways that I think would benefit you guys, just based on, again, my personal experience. That's all I can talk about. And yeah, that's kind of what this video will be about today. My name is Sergio Agustin, or Sergio Agustin, however you want to pronounce it. I don't care. I'm a small business owner of an independent upcoming beauty brand, Chula Beauty. And welcome to my channel. I'm still like figuring things out. If you'd like to join my journey and watch more videos like this, please subscribe. I am working on building my channel. So if you subscribe and like the video, that would really mean a lot. I'll be doing my makeup as I talk about all the chisme que les tengo hoy. And if you do not want to stay tuned, well, te lo pierdes, because I am giving out like some really good advice for free. So si no aprovechas, girl, that's on you. Anyway, so I just started with the primer that every baddie has, because I don't know, it just feels like it does something, right? So if you haven't read the title of the video, I will be talking about why college was just not a good time for me, and how I overcame it and what I learned from that. And I'll just, start off by first talking about how I even got into college, because honestly, growing up, college, who, what, when, where? I did not see myself going to college. I didn't even think about it. It was not something I wanted to do. I had no damn interest in it. But after a series of unfortunate events, I excelled in a lot of things. And then I found myself in a situation where like it would be dumb of me not to go. I remember I never like envisioned myself like pursuing any sort of profession out there, to be honest. Like as a young kid, that's something I would stress about, because everyone's like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a lawyer, a teacher, a singer. And it was something that like was always at the back of my mind, like what the hell am I gonna do with myself, And it was really brought to the forefront when it really freaking mattered, like the last 2 years of high school. I guess I was always into filmmaking and stuff like that, and I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel. I'm doing it now, so like kind of proud of myself for that, honestly. But as I was saying, I found myself getting more involved with things in high school. I got involved with yearbook, to eventually I became the editor-in-chief, co-editor-in-chief, just in other clubs as well. And I'm kind of going to gloss over like a lot. Basically, I got into yearbook, and then I got a lot of help from the advisor. She is a real one. And because I was taking college classes and stuff like that, like the guidance counselors, like we had our own guidance counselors that like really helped you like with your goals, and they really helped you, try to get into college and all that stuff. Like I had that advantage, and I had that like incentive to succeed, to excel in what I was doing. Anyway, long story short, I found myself with like a lot of like support, which is a good thing, around me, that was kind of like, hey, this is like the direction of where your life should be going. And I had the grades and I had the things to put on my resume. I qualified to get certain financial aid. Like it seemed like everything had lined up. I didn't realize it, but I mean, I had been working to get here for a very long time, and I never realized what I was really working towards. And it didn't really hit me until then that like, wait, the end goal was to get into a certain college. The end goal was to then pursue some sort of profession with that degree. Like it didn't really hit me until then, and I was kind of like, this is great and all, but I don't know. I just saw that there were other kids who were very like into it, who were very determined, who were very like, they knew what they wanted. They had the goal. They were, doing it. I was kind of just doing it because, yeah, let's go, like everyone else is doing it. And like when it came down to it, I had all the support, and like honestly, it just felt like really stupid of me to not take this opportunity that kind of I'd worked for, and it had lined up kind of perfectly in a way. And I just felt like I did not want to let anyone down. So honestly, I'm just gonna do like kind of like my everyday base routine. I'm not gonna do like a whole makeup look. I just realized I didn't even tell you. So I went to college for advertising and public relations. I got my bachelor's degree in that. When I was starting to apply to colleges, I made a list, and then I chose like my top 5. What's crazy is I got into all 5. Like, for someone who didn't want to go to college, like I just really had like, I want to say luck, but it wasn't luck. Like I worked hard for it, Like it just felt like it came easy because I wasn't so attached to it. Like it wasn't really my end go. It was kind of like, oh yeah, you know, like I guess it's what I'm doing. You know, all the manifestation videos that you see, like practice detachment. You know what? Maybe they're right, because looking back, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, so I had options. And of course I went with the one that was closest to home, because I was kind of like maybe in denial at the time, but like I did not want to leave. Like my small town is not all that, trust me. It's not where I want to be forever, definitely not, but like I didn't want to leave. And then by the time it comes to orientation, after all the mess of like touring schools, well I only toured 2, and then you know moving in, that's a whole experience that's just not fun for anyone. But yeah, after moving in and then doing orientation and all that stuff, I remember, this is TMI, very like, I haven't told this to anyone because it's like personal and embarrassing. But I remember like I was lying in bed like that night, the very first night, and like I was 18 years old, and like it was my very first time like away from home, away from my parents, and my bed was right next to the window, and I could just overlook the city because the college is located downtown. So like I was like up on like the 5th floor, you know, you can see like the rest of the city, and I just remember looking down being like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like I don't know, like a wave of like sadness just came upon me, and I remember bawling my eyes out that night. I was the first one there, like none of my roommates were there, and like I didn't even know them. And I feel like other people had different experiences because of like what they say, like how they're so happy, they're so excited, like yeah they get homesick, but like it's not that big of a deal. Like they always say like, oh wow, I belong here, like I just love it here, all these things. I just remember like that was never me. Like no bitch. I always had that feeling of like, what can I do to get the fuck out of here? What can I do to graduate like the fastest? I need to go. Like that was my attitude. And like looking back, I didn't even have like a desire to think about what I wanted to do after I graduated. I just wanted to get done with this diploma, get done with this thing I signed up for, just because I wanted to please other people. And what's kind of crazy is that like something as time consuming, as valuable, and as expensive as college is, that's not how you should feel about it. You should like want to be there 100%. You should, you know, have a goal. You should be actively pursuing that goal. Like that's the mindset you should have. So I know that I didn't take full advantage of all the great things that were around me because I was just so, like I just hated every moment. And that like goes to my main point, where I was just doing something that was expected of me. And like granted, no one, like there was pressure to do it, but quite literally no one would like had a gun to my head saying you better do this, right? My parents were very supportive of me. They had said, you know, if this is something you want to do, go for it. If not, then you know, you figure something else out, which was such a blessing, you know, that they were so like understanding and stuff. But at the same time it was like, damn, I actually have to choose. And I just chose with what was easiest, you know. This goes into my next point. People pleasing was my very first mistake. Do not be like me and do that. My second mistake was letting my naive and depressive brain get the best of me. One thing that my dad has said and like still says to me is that ni modo, mientras que estás aquí hay que chingarle. To translate that loosely, it's kind of like, well, you're already here. There's no point in complaining. There's no point in like beating yourself up about it. There's no point in all of that stuff, right? Just figure it out. Just like get through it. Kind of like what he means when he says that. It took me like a long time to understand that, like, you know what, Sergio, like you done goofed. You got yourself here. Instead of being such a drag, make the best of it. My advice to that version of myself would be like, shut the fuck up. Take advantage of the opportunity you have in front of you. It's not what you expected, and it's kind of like not what you really wanted, but you're already there. You're already there. You can't do anything about it. The only thing you can control is your present. You already made mistakes, or you already made choices in the past. Your present is what matters, because it's what decides what your future will look like, right? Like, duh. And I was just so kind of like mad at myself. I was just not in a good place mentally and also physically. Like everything was just not good. And I just kept blaming other people. It was actually my fault. I was the one who chose to put other people's opinions or to put other people's desires, wants, needs, whatever, above mine. Because I was too chicken shit to own up to what I wanted and to, you know, make choices that aligned with that truth. That's what happens when you people please. You put other people's needs or what have you above your own. And that's something that you should never do. And thinking back about it, I feel like so dumb because I realized how privileged I was to have gotten that opportunity, because I know that not many people can. I just can't believe I was just so blind, you know, to what was in front of me. Had I known what I know now, my life would probably be very different. But at the same time, I have no regrets. Like, bitch, you cannot live your life with regrets. Like, choices were made, so what? Move on, learn from them, and move on. I have this kind of philosophy where I don't really believe that coincidences just happen. I feel like things happen for a reason, whether we may know it ever or not, that doesn't really matter. But things happen for a reason, and without this experience, I just wouldn't be where I am now, period. Why live your life in regret? Like, just own up to it and learn from your mistakes, and that's how you grow, right? These are like my top 3 takeaways from this whole experience. This is what I learned. The first being, people pleasing gets you nowhere. Certain people will hate, they like levarte del pinche culo that you are doing better than them, or that you are trying to do better than them, and it just makes them uncomfortable. It makes them mad with you, with themselves, with life, whatever, right? And they'll do anything to kill your dreams or to stop you. My thing is, like, you need to ask yourself, why do you feel like you need to quedar bien with them, or that you need to, you know, get their approval? Like, ask yourself that and figure out what it is in your head. And honestly, you'll probably not even find a good reason. Usually just like an irrational thought, you know, one has, and it's okay, because we all do. I have those thoughts still sometimes. Like, are these bitches paying my bills? If they're not my parents, if they're not paying my bills, they got nothing to say. Their opinion means nothing. That's kind of the mindset you need to have. And then when you realize, you know, when you let it sink in, you'll realize that it's crazy to put value into the opinions of these people that don't matter. Like, trust me, you owe it to yourself to do what's best for you. My second big takeaway would be to follow your heart, but to be strategic. You kind of really do need to sit down with yourself and be really real about what you want out of life, or what you want for your life, and to realistically see how you can achieve that. And you do that by like working backwards, you know, figure out where you want to be, then work backwards from that, and then you can choose how to act. That's what I mean about being strategic. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You need money to live, newsflash. Like, that's just the harsh reality. You don't need a lot of it, right? Like, that's up to you, but you need money to live, period. Like, that's me not sugarcoating it. That's just being real. And by following your heart, that does not mean to, you know, just give everything up, have no money to, you know, survive, and then just be like, well, I'm following my heart. No, bitch, be strategic, be realistic. Like, you can follow your dream, or maybe start your business, whatever, right? But also, you know, like, maybe have some money saved up first, or maybe kind of like, you know, start doing things on the side. Like, that's what I mean by, like, follow your heart, follow your passion, do what you need to do, but like, be smart about it. Just be real with yourself. And like, this other piece of advice is kind of aimed more towards teens out there, or someone, you know, like a young adult such as myself. When I say this does not mean, I've seen it, where some kids think that like, my parents always tell me what to do, and they, I don't know, they have some sort of issue where they kind of like subconsciously or consciously like decide to do the opposite of everything their parents have ever told them. And I don't know, it's like maybe like some sort of rebellious, I don't understand, I don't know, but I've seen people make really dumb choices. Oh, I see what's going on here. You're just making life harder for you. You're doing exactly the opposite your parents told you to do, and you have some weird vendetta against them and all that stuff. That is not what I mean, girl. Be realistic. If you find that being you, you know, maybe like seek therapy, I don't know. I'm not a professional. Don't be fucking life up just because you're 18 and you think you're grown now. This is the real world, and you need money to live in it. Don't burn bridges that you don't need to burn, girl. Like, and then lastly, oh my god, hold on. I found these, girl. These were everywhere. The She Glam lip tint stuff, and I really like, okay, cheeky. This color is my shit. This is like my actual like color. Like, this matches like perfectly. But I kind of want to do some like red, kind of. I don't. I just want some. I want some pigment, but not too pigmented. You know. It looks cute. Just a cute little wash color. Like, that's kind of the vibe I like. And then my last point is actually like kind of like a coping mechanism that like I learned somewhere on the internet, and it's really helped me. It switched the way I was thinking, you know, like how I said in college, how I was just like really depressed and all these things, and like, I'm not gonna say it was the cure because it's not the cure, but it really did, how do I describe it? It just felt like this weird sinking feeling, you know, just like feeling like empty, like, and feeling, you know, just feeling so low, like that feeling. I have not felt that in a minute by doing this thing that I'm about to tell you. One thing that I realized when I was like very sad is that I was just taking whatever was in front of me for granted. Simply put, I was being so ungrateful. Like, I am so aware now of how short life is and the many blessings that I do have in my life and that I've always had, you know, that were there, and I just didn't know how to appreciate it, but now I do. When I do start to feel, you know, getting down or something, like, I literally cannot go into that like dark place because I just, you know, I'm reminded of like, hey, this might be very bad, but you know what? There's always something every single day to be grateful for. And I don't mean this in like that fake positive thing where it's just like, be happy, you know, well, at least I got this, right? Like, no, like if you're sad, you're sad. But I've kind of trained myself to kind of like, instead of fixating on this thing and just getting into like melodramatic, deeper state of endless pit of sadness, I kind of am just like, you know what? Like, perspective change. Hey, like, it's kind of like this situation or whatever is bringing me down. I can kind of like zoom out and then see it like, okay, it's just this little piece and it does hurt or whatever, and it's painful or whatever, and it's maybe not ideal, and you know, this feeling is valid, it's true, but I'm not gonna ruin all of these other things just because of this, if that makes sense. I feel like, at least for me, when I was just the saddest bitch ever, like, I was just ignoring all of the good things. And it's like, bitch, why did you do that? Like, don't do that. It literally gets you nowhere, you know? So, like I said, I can like easily now pull back focus and see like this tiny thing in the grand scheme of things, and I'm just, you know, quickly reminded of all the things I'm grateful for, of like the mini miracles that happen every single day, because they do happen every single day. You don't even know. And if you don't realize it, you should start looking into that, because really a lot of crazy shit always happens. But yeah, it just makes me feel better. It makes me, you know, keep having faith even in like dark days, because, you know, that shit just doesn't go away. But, you know, it just doesn't feel the same. Fuck doing things just to please other people. It's no fun and it's not worth your time. Getting out of your head is hard, but that's kind of like the secret key. Again, feel what you need to feel, but don't let it consume you. The biggest tip that helped me like practice gratitude would be like making, like literally in my head, like at a random point in the day, I try to do this at least once a day, just list 3 things that you're grateful for. You know, it doesn't need to be elaborate, it doesn't need to be deeply well thought out. It's just like in that moment, think and be honest with yourself. Like, you know what, hey, maybe like I'm grateful that today I actually woke up to my first alarm, because usually it doesn't happen or whatever, right? That's a great thing to put on that list. Something that just kind of like pulls you back into the, you know, that just makes you aware of life, and you're just like, hey, you know what? I'm so glad. Basically what you're doing is just taking a little bit of time out of your day just to kind of celebrate those little mini wins, whether it was in your control or not. But it's just, you know, saying, hey, you know what? God, life, universe, whoever, whatever, you know, you believe in, just like, hey, I'm grateful for that happened today, because it made me feel good or whatever, you know, like that. Like for me, doing that, and then every single day, like that is what has made a difference. And that's why like a bitch doesn't get sad like that no more, because it's like, you know, when I do feel sad, like that's different, you know, you don't feel it as intense and as like melodramatic and all that stuff. That's my advice. Again, I'm not a professional, so don't hold shit against me, guys. Like, this is my advice. I'm just a guy in a box talking to you. That's kind of the whole video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope that, you know, you learned something out of my terrible experience at college. I really did just gloss over like a lot, and I just kind of condensed it all. I hope you guys learned from those like 3 key points especially. Do not live your life to please others. Do follow your heart, follow your dreams, but be strategic about it, be realistic with where you are, and then, you know, figure out how you want to get there, and, you know, have a plan, you know, and then do it. And the third is all about practicing gratitude, because that is what kind of like cured my depression, you know, like, you know, cured, you know, but it really will change your perspective on things. But yes, like I said, I'm trying to grow my channel. Please, please, please subscribe and like the video if you did, if you got something out of it. Oh, so I know that you made it to this part of the video. You should comment down at least one thing that you're grateful for. Cause I'll try to also write something that I'm grateful for, like the day I post it, and I'll like pin it or something in the comment section. But yes, I want to see what you guys put down there. Again, it can be anything. It can be something like so trivial, or maybe something very deep. Whatever is true to you, that is what needs to be on your list. Also, if you want to check out my small business, Chula Beauty, I'll try to put some like photos here. Please check it out. I'll have everything linked down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.